Good morning. We're learning as this chusr for Shlema Filan Chaya Basarach. We're on towards the top of Chav Tes Amud Aleph. Um, 6 lines from the top. Amarav, Goyva Shel Menorah Tisha Tvachim. The height of the menorah was 9 tvachim. Eitzer Sivachiel Rav. Evan Heisel Lefnei Menorah Bashal Shmalish Aleh Kayin Omer. Says, how could it be that it was only 9 tvachim, which is, 30, 40 inches? It says there was like a little step stool with 3 steps on it that the kohen would stand, umeitavas on it nearest, and that's what he would use to light the menorah. You wouldn't need a step stool if it's only 9 tvachim. I don't know why we don't ask from our cheshbon before when we added up the height of the menorah. It added up to a lot more than. It added up to, I think, something like, I don't remember exactly what it was, but it was certainly more than
18
9.
maybe? It was 18 maybe?
Maybe it was 18. I don't remember exactly. But I don't know why we're right. So I don't know why we're asking this question about this. Sagt Gemara, Amalei Simi at. Amalei Simi at. This is my Simi. Kamina Misvas Kanamula Milo. When I said that it was 9 tvachim, I just meant from the branches and up. I wasn't including the base. But that added on a significant amount. Sagt Gemara, Ksiv, Vahaperach, the blossoms, Vahanerus, and the cups that hold the shemen, Vamilkachayim, and the implements that they used to clean them out, Zav. They were made out of Zav, Michlois Zav. They were made with Zav, finishing gold. My Michlois Zav, what does that mean, gold at the finish, that finishes? Amrav Amishe, Kilasa the Chol Zav Sagur Shel Shleima. It finishes up all of the Sagur gold of Shleima. Sagur gold, the Amar of Yehuda Amarav, Esa Menorahs Asa Shleima, V'chol Achas Achas Hevele Elef Kikar Zav. We're going to see what Sagur is. And each one of these 10 menorahs, they brought 1,000 kikarim of zav, v'chnisu elef pamim lekur, and they brought it. They fired in the furnace 1,000 times. So you take 1,000 kikaris of zav and you refine it 1,000 times. Then we do al kikar. Each one was reduced to just 1 kikar. So it was 1,000th of its original. It was so well refined that it was only a 1,000th of what it was originally. So Rashi says Zav Sagur. So Rashi Shebishah Shemoichanos Niskar is Kol Ha Tnuyas Shemoichanos Hazav. Chanuyas. They would when these it was considered like the final boss of gold. That when you had such good gold, when they sold that, everyone would give up trying to compete with it, and they would close their stores. So that's what so it says that's what kind of zav Shlomo HaMelech used to make the menorah. For Gemara, any v'ksiv chol klei mashka HaMelech Shlomo zav v'chol kli beis yar halavanan zav sagur. It says all of the drinking vessels of Shlomo HaMelech were made out of zav, and all of the implements of the vessels that he had in his Beis Yar HaLevanim were made out of zav sagur. Ein kesem nechsher b'mei Shlomo lemua, and the value of gold to Shlomo was nothing. So you see, how could you say that Shlomo HaMelech, that he used up all of the gold? It means we said that the gold, it was called Michlei Zav because it used up all of Shlomo HaMelech Zav, and there was nothing left. So how could you say that it says here that he used for his personal use? He had tons of gold, and that gold was worthless in his days. I'm sorry, in Kesef, there's no silver. Right, there was no silver. Was not any. There was so much gold that the silver was worthless. So how could you say that he used up everything? Zav Sagar Karmin. What it means is that he just used up this Zav Sagar, this very valuable gold that they would close up everyone would give up when they saw it. That he used up, but he still had plenty of the regular gold. We mentioned that Bimei Shloima, he used 1,000 kikaris of gold to produce one single ultra refined kikar of gold. So it came out 1 out of 1,000. So it was each time they did it 1,000 times, and each time basically it took off 1,000th of the each time it took off one kikar. It says or 1,000th of the original amount. Like we said, the menorah has to be exactly a kikar, and the menorah in the Beis Hamikdash was bigger than it was supposed to be by bediner zav kurdikni, that it was a kurdikni, a bediner zav of the size of kurdikni. Vichnisua pei pa'amim lekur. They took it 80 times into the furnace. V'midu al kikar. They reduced it by the size of this kurdikni dinar, and that made it to a kikar. So you see, 80 times it only did this small amount. That's a lot less than what we said before, that you did it 1,000 times, and each time it took away a whole kikar. You reduced it from 1,000 to 1. It's like Gemara, kiva the kai. The Gemara says no, it wasn't. It's not a. What do you call it? It's not a straight line process of reduction. For some reason, it pops into my head. You guys won't relate to this, but when you're filling up your Tesla with electricity, it doesn't fill up at the same amount. At the beginning, it goes in fast, and then as the battery fills up, it slows down. So the same thing with the refining. When at the beginning, when there's a lot of impurities, it burns off quickly. You get to the end when there's only a little bit left, then each firing takes off less and less. So we're talking about there's only a little bit of a problem of non-gold in it, so it only needed 80 times to be melted. Amr of Shmuel bar Nachmani, Amr of Yonason. We're 2 lines up in the narrow lines on Chof Tes Amud Aleph. Amr of Shmuel bar Nachmani, Amr of Yonason. Says on the Menorah HaTorah. What does it mean, HaTorah? Sheyardu Masemi Makam Torah. It means that it was brought from the Rebbeinu Shalom, brought down a menorah of fire to show to Moshe. So the Torah only discusses that there was such a thing by the menorah. We don't see directly that there was such a thing by the Shulchan. So therefore, it doesn't seem that that's what Torah means. Ella Torah Mechlal Shu Tamei. By the Shulchan, when it says Torah, it means something else. It means that it's tar, even though it's capable of becoming Tamei. Are we going to say over here also by the menorah that it can become Tamei? It makes sense by the Shulchan that the Torah is telling you that it has to be tar and it can't become Tamei, that it's something that's capable of becoming Tamei. Damrish Lakish, Maidich Sev al Shulchan Atar, Mechlal Shehu Tamei, that it's capable of becoming Tamei. Kli Eitza Asel Nachasu. The Shulchan was made out of wood. It was covered with, I think, with gold, but the actual Shulchan was made out of wood. V'chol Kli Eitza Asel Nachas. Any Kli Eitz that's made to remain in its place, essentially, if you think about it, a chair, furniture, something, or a chest, anything that's supposed to remain in place, ain't a makabel tumah. The only kind of Kli Eitz makabel tumah is something that's moved around. So the Shulchan, the fire is a Kli Eitz that's also linachas. It's supposed to remain in its place. They would pick up the whole Shulchan with the lechem aponim to show to the oile regam v'oilhem ruchi vasam lefnei mahamakam, and see how beloved you are by the Rebbeinu Shalom. In any case, you see that it was. That's what the pasuk is telling you. Shulchan Hatar, to tell you that the Shulchan, since it moved around, it was moved around and shown to the other regalim. it wasn't a kli asil and nachas, but rather was a kli that was moved around. Therefore, it's makabel tuma. Maichi basam. What does it mean that they picked it up and showed how beloved you were by the Baruch Shalom? Yishu ben Lakish, Tam Yishu ben Lakish, ben Levi. I'm sorry. Nes gadol naasa b'lechem apanim. There was a great nes with the lechem apanim. Silukai kasidurei. When they would pick it up, it was the same as when they placed it there a week earlier. Shenema loshum lechem cham b'yayim hilkacha. That you would take to put down lechem that would be warm at the day that it's taken. That even when it's picked up, it's still warm. It's still as fresh as when it was put down a week earlier. So that's the explanation. This is all a long explanation of why, when the Torah says Torah by the Shulchan, it was needed to tell you that it's Makabel Tumah, because one would have thought it's a Kli Asul L'Nachas and not capable of being Makabel Tumah. So we say you pick it up to show the other gal. Alahacha Tahira Mechlal Shi Tmeya. What do you need a pasuk to tell you that the Menorah is Makabel Tumah? Pshita. It's pasha kli matchas ninu, kli matchas mechabim tuma. It's not a kli eitz. A kli eitz, you can have distinction. This is a kli matchas that is mekabel tuma. Ela sheyardu masem mimakom tahira. So that's why we say that no, it's not talking about tum and tahira, but rather it's saying it came from a holy place from up in Shemayim. They show him Moshe Rabbeinu a picture of it. Tanya v'yesem b'yudayim. Aron shel eis v'shulchan shel eis v'menorah shel eis yardu min Shemayim. He says that all of them had a picture of them. It's not the shulchan. Moshe saw it, and he made them according to that model. Shenema v'rei also katav nisan. Asher atamara bahar. You should see and do like the model that you saw in the har. So that the Baruch Shalom actually showed what it's going to look like. Elamiata v'kamtes hamishkan kumishpata asher heres bahar. It says a similar lashon by the Mishkan that you should build it kumishpata in the measurements that you were shown in the har hachanami. Was there also a model of that? So Gemara, no, hachik kumishpata hasan siv ketav nisim. It was only the kalim, the Mishkan. There was no model that he was shown because it used lashon mishpat by the Mishkan. That doesn't. It's just ketav nisam. Is the way it was built. Kamishpatai means just the measurements. Amar Chia bar Abba Amar Rabbi Yochanan. Gavriel chagur kamim psike. Rashi says that means Gavriel was wearing his workman clothing, his worker's belt. Haya. V'hera loyla Moshe ma'isa menorah. And he showed Moshe how the menorah should be built. This he showed him not just the model, but also how to make it. Tanda Ber Bishmal. Shloisha dvarim hayu koshel loyla Moshe acha hera loyla Kadosh Baruch Hu b'atzbai. There were three things that Moshe Rabbeinu was not sure how to do them until the Baruch Shalom showed him an example. The Eluhain menorah, like we just said, the menorah. Reish Chodesh, the menorah, like we said, had to be built out of a single piece of metal, so therefore he needed an example of it. Reish Chodesh, also the size of the moon, the Levana, when you could say it's Reish Chodesh. Ushratzim, which shratzim are the ones that are metama. Menorah, menorah. Menorah says this is the Ma'aseh Menorah. The Baruch Shalom said, Chodesh hazeh. This Chodesh, that means he showed to him what the Chodesh is going to be, Rosh Chodashim. Shloshim l'chsev v'zeh lachem hatamei. The Baruch Shalom again showed him this is the Tamei Shratzim, the 8 Tamei, the Shmeina Shratzim. V'yesh avim af hilchas shchita. Some people say also the halachos of how to shecht an animal. Shenema v'zeh asher tasa ala mizbeach. Tasa mizbeach means to shecht before you bring on the mizbeach. It's difficult to know exactly where you're allowed to cut the animal, where on the neck you do the shechita. So the Rebbe Shalom showed that to Moshe as well. So Gemara, shtei parshas shebemezuzah ma'akva zu azu. V'afilu ksav echad ma'akvan. We're going to enter into the next few blot about the halachas of writing a sefer Torah, tefillin, and mezuzah. So first, we said in the Mishnah that the two parshas in the mezuzah ma'akvas, if you're missing either one of them, if you're missing even one letter, it's ma'akav. Saktamar pshita, what do I need a pasuk? The Torah says that you need a ksiva tama. Ksav tam, we darshan to mean a ksiva tama, it must be complete. So what is the chiddush of this Mishnah? Amar Yudam Rav, lo yitzrach alal kutza shel yud. It's needed to tell you just the little dot of the yud. That the point of the yud There's different shitas of what it means. Rashi says it means the part that's pointing down, the little part. If it's missing that, it's not a yud. It's just without the dot coming down, it's not a yud. It's just a dot. It's just a square thing. L'kidach the Rav Yehuda Amarav. The Amar Rav Yehuda Amarav. Kol oishe en gvil mukaf lo me'aber uchosea psula. Every ice that's written and it doesn't have some open parchment around it is going from all four sides is going to be possible. Rashi says that means that the letter can't be touching anywhere if it doesn't have space between one letter and the next, but rather let's say the top of a lamed or the bottom of a kuf is touching the letter underneath it, it's possible. This is a massive issue by the Rishonim, if that's what it means, or if it just means that there has to be actual parchment. It can't come to the end of the parchment. A lot of different shittas in this. I remember many years ago when I was a younger man, I had a cousin who, I don't know exactly why, he made like a night kail. They're going to learn Hilchos Stam, learn these Gemaras. And I thought it was going to be nice and easy. And it turns out these types of questions are hotly debated. And it's not so easy when the Rav goes up there on Shabbos when there's a mistake in the Sefer Torah. There's a lot of rules that he has to know. Amar Asiyan Bar Nadbach, Mishmei Rav Yehuda. Asiyan Bar Nadbach, that was his name, said in the Shem of Yehuda. We're 4 lines in the bottom of Chav Tes Amid Aleph. Nikav Teicha Shel Hey, if someone made a hole in the cloth, in the parchment, in the middle of the hay, right? The hay has 2 sides and the top. In the middle of that, there was a hole, kosher. It's kosher. Yerechai, if it's in the leg of the hay, Urecha, Rashi says, regel hayimanis, the right leg. That means the side, the front, I don't know what to call it. The right, the part coming down on the right, the full side. Urecha nishtayir by kashir ois katana kosher, vim lav possible. As long as you have left enough of a piece of the hay of that leg that it still looks like a yud, it's kosher. But if not, it's possible. Agar chamud Rabba. This happened. If
I think you skipped a little bit.
I skipped. I'm sorry.
Because we went from. You said
I skipped the 4. You mean Amar Zer Lidim Fashim Neder of Huna, but Yaakov Am Lidim Fashim Neder of Yehuda. Yeah, I'm sorry. It's just the who said this. Yeah. Nikav Teichel. Hey, Kasha Yerecha and Mishtar by Kashir. It's Katana Kasha and La Apostle. Agra Chamur de Reb Abba. Agra the Shver of Reb Abba. If Sika lay Kara the hay, this happened to him that the leg of the hay was interrupted with a hole. The ha'im of the word ha'im, benikva, it got a hole in it. Also the kamei Reb Abba. He came to Reb Abba. Amalei im shtayir ba yikashira is katana kasher v'im lav pasal. Like we said before, if there's a small letter, if there's enough of a yud left in it, then it's a kasher tefillin. But if not, it's possible.
I mean, yud meaning that from the leg that's shortened by the hole.
Right. The shortened leg still is the size of a yud. It's going to still be kosher. I guess. I mean, I don't really remember all the halachas so well, but I think that it's not something. If it's part of a hay, what else could it be? Right? It's not. It's still recognizable that it's a hay. Doesn't look like anything else. So as long as you have some kind of leg there, that's enough. Ra'ami bar Tami, the hu chamua de Rami bar Dikuli. Ra'ami bar Tamri, who was the father-in-law of Rami bar Dikuli, ifsekale kari de vav, the vav of Vayaharig, of the word Vayaharig in his tefillin, had the vav at the beginning of it was cut off, benikva, with a hole. Also came to Rav Zeri, Amalei. Zil Aisi Yanuka Deloi Chacham Beloi Tipish. Find a child who's not too smart and not too dumb. If he's too smart, then he'll know what word comes in Shema, so he'll definitely read it correctly. He'll know what it means. And if he's too dumb, then he's not gonna. If he's not able to read it, it's just because of his incapacity. So ikari levayaharoi kosher. If he reads it properly as a vav, even though the letter is cut off, then it's kosher. Eloi, but if he doesn't read it correctly, Yaharagu. He's reading it instead of Vayaharag, he's going to read it as having two yuds. So, but we don't. I think we don't put two yuds because that's the shame. I don't know why, but he's reading it as two yuds upassel. Amrav Yudam Rav. So basically, if you have a vav that's short and you're not sure if it's a vav or yud, you have to get a child who's not too smart and not too dumb to tell you what it really looks like. Amar Vidamra, B'shasha Allah Moshe Lamarim. When Moshe Rabbeinu went up to Shemayim by Matan Har Sinai, Matul HaKadosh Baruch Hu sheyoshev v'koisher kasarim la'osius. Found the Rebbe Shalom putting crowns on the Osius. Amar Lefan Rebbe Shalom, Mi ma'akav al yodcha. He asked him, why are you going to such trouble to add these crowns? Amalai, Adam Echad Yesha, Asan Lias B'Sayv Kamadairis. There's a Yid who's going to come, who after many dairis from now, Akiva ben Yosef Shmei. His name is Rabbi Akiva. Sha'asad Lidrush al Kol Koitz v'Koitz Tilin Shalalachas. He's coming to darshan on every crown, every piece sticking up from the letters, many halachas, piles of halachas. Amal L'Fav Rebbeinu Shalom, Hereili. So Moshe Rabbeinu said, show me this Akiva. Amal Echazal Acharecha. He said, turn around. Halach v'Yasher b'Sayv Shmei Neshuas. Moshe Rabbeinu found himself in the shirum of Rabbi Akiva. He found himself in the 8th row, all the way in the back by the junior Talmidim. He didn't even know what the Talmidim were discussing about the halachas that Rabbi Akiva was learning. Tashish Koichai. Moshe Rabbeinu got depressed. Kivin shegil l'davar echad. But when Rabbi Akiva was darshaning to the Talmidim, he came to the part of one halacha. Amalei Talmidov, Rabbi Minayin lach. The Talmidim asked Rabbi Akiva, "Where do you know this halacha?" Amalan halacha l'Moshe Misinai. He said it's halacha l'Moshe Misinai. This Yashva Daitai. That made Moshe Rabbeinu feel better. He said, ultimately, even though I don't recognize the Divrei Torah that Rabbi Akiva was using pilpul and drush in order to. This is Rav Huna talks about this, that because of Shikchas HaTorah, we have to rebuild the Torah through drush and pilpul to find what was lost. But this is not what Moshe Rabbeinu was taught. Moshe Rabbeinu knew the halachas, and he knew all the reasons for everything. But we create new Torah. Create new Torah through our analysis. Moshe Rabbeinu didn't recognize it, but he said, since ultimately it's all to get back to what Moshe Rabbeinu taught us, that was Miyashav the Das of Moshe Rabbeinu. Chazu b'olef ne'akadosh baruch hu. He went and he came in front of the Bershom. Rebbeinu Shalom. Moshe Rabbeinu said to Bershom, "Yeshcha adam kazev atanoisen Torah al yadi." He said, "Why are you giving the Torah with me? You should give the Torah with Rabbi Akiva." Amalei shtoi kach Allah b'machshava. Bershom told the Moshe Rabbeinu, "This is not for you to debate. This is my decision." Kach Allah b'machshava lefani. Amal lefani Rebbeinu Shalom. Harisani teirase, harisani tzchare. You showed me the grandeur of Rabbi Akiva's Torah. Let me see also what his reward is. Amalei chazar la'acharecha. Bershom said, turn around. Chazar la'acharecha. He turned around, raw, and he found himself in the place where Rabbi Akiva was raw. Sheshayklum tzarib makul. And they saw that they were tearing his basar, his body with combs. He asked him, is this the schar of Torah? Bershom again told him, this is not something to question. Amarav, Shiva Oisius Tzricha Shloisha Ziyunin. There are 7 Oisius that need 3 Ziyunin. Rashi says those are Tagin. You need 3 Tagin coming up, a tag looks like a Zion. So, Be'eluhain, Shin Ayin Tes Nun Zayin Gimel Tzadik. Again, this is all very hotly debated whether it's only these letters or these ones always need all three, and others do sometimes need and some don't. Amar Vashi, Chazinul Hulu Sifri Devakni Davkani. I saw the very the ones who do things bedavka, who do things very carefully. The Bei Rav in the house of Rav, the Chatri Hulu Legage the Ches, that they would the Tolule. That they would add on a line on the top of a ches, carry the hay, and they would be careful that the suspended part, the leg that's not attached to the hay, did not come close. The one shot that Rashi brings is that it doesn't come close to the top of the hay. They make sure to have a sizable gap, not just a small gap between. What does it mean? Why do they add a line at the top of a ches? Klemer, chayhu b'roy mishalayim. Just like we wear a yarmulke to remind us that the Rebbe Shalom and Shemayim, they put a line on the ches to say the Rebbe Shalom lives in the top of the world in the Shemayim. The tolulei carry the hay, and they made a hole for the hay. Is a very famous Gemara. I'm sure we've all heard it in one context or the other. He asked Ravami, bitchu b'Hashem adiyad. Ki b'ka Hashem tzura elamim. Have faith in Hashem forever, because with Hashem we have tzura elamim. We have a security in the worlds. Amalei kol ha'toila b'tchayni b'Hakadosh Baruch Hu. Whoever is b'teich in Hashem, harei le'machsa b'olam hazeh le'olam ba. He'll have security. He'll have protection both in this world and in the next world. That's tzura elamim in multiple worlds. And he said, you're answering the question, but that's not what I had asked you. What I meant to ask you. What does it say? What does it mean? Ki b'ka Hashem tzorei lamim. Just say ki Hashem tzorei lamim. What does it mean, b'ka? Zaktamara, k'dedarish Rabbi Yehuda bar Rav Ilai. The answer is like Rabbi Yehuda said b'shem Rav Ilai, Elu shlei olam shebar HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Echad b'hei ve'echad b'yud. The Rebbe Shalom made the two worlds. One was with a hey and one was with a yud. Hey, I don't know if this world is the yud and the olam haba. If the olam haba is the yud and this world is the hey. Maybe it's the other way around. When the Torah says this is the Torah of Shemayim and the Aretz when behibaram, when they were created. Altikri behibaram, ella behebaram. It's to tell you that the world was the Shemayim and Aretz, our world was built with a hay. So this is the answer to our question that Olam Hazeh is behay and Olam Haba is beyud. And why is the Olam Hazeh written with a hay? The hay itself is it looks like a little hut, right? You have two legs with a roof, so it has an inside. You can go from the side. There's room to go out. It's like a awning that you can go out. It's something with a wall, with walls and an opening to go out as you wish. So it means that a person has the option, if he wants, he can go into the world. He can do the proper thing and if he stays within the Dalet Amos of halachas, then he'll be protected. But if he wants, he can go out, he cannot do it. He has Bechira to do as he pleases. Umay time Atalia Kari, why did the Rebbe Shalom suspend the leg of the hay and not attach it? The Hada B'tshuva Ma'ilei, that if he had gone back and he wants to come back, the Rebbe Shalom made an extra door that through tshuva he could come back. So this is the answer of B'ka, why it said instead of just Ka Hashem, B'ka, that it's only through the agency of the Rebbe Shalom, through the gift of the Rebbe Shalom, that a person has an extra siyata d'shmaya to do tshuva. Correct? Why do you need an extra ability to do tshuva? Why can't the person, just the same way he made a bechira to do an avera, let him make the bechira to do tshuva, to do the right thing? So it's not the way it works. People are not able to go back so quickly. If someone decides to join the leitzim, then he joins the leitzim, and that's where he stays. But someone who wants to come back, the Rebbeinu Shalom helps him back. I say. If someone wants to come back, the Rebbeinu Shalom helps him because naturally he wouldn't be able to do so. Once he makes the decision where he gets siyata d'shmaya to be able to do tshuva, but if someone wants to do the wrong thing, the Rebbeinu Shalom allows him to do it. We don't stop him. He's able to do so. Umay taima islay tag. Okay, so that's the answer of B'kar Hashem Tzurei Lomim and the hay. Why the hay has is Olam Haza. So Gemara, my time islay tag. Why does the hay also have a tag, a crown on top of it? If a person decides to take a return, then I'm going to tie a crown on his head. Like we say, b'makom shabal tshuva na'imdin ein chasidei ha'olam ma'imdin. And what about the other side? Why is the Olam Haba biyud? Because tzaddikim are very small. There's very few tzaddikim. Why is the yud bent over? Meaning, if you see a yud in the Sefer Torah, the yud, the bottom of the yud has the little part that sticks out is bent over toward the front, so it makes it look like it's bent. Tzaddikim their heads are always bent over, they're bowed over, which is talk what we see. That each one feels unworthy because he looks at the other tzaddik. He says, "Why aren't I like him?" Amar of Yosef, Hani Tarti Mili Amar Rav B'Sfarim, B'Tanya Tiyufta. The two things that Rav learned from Sfarim, but we have a brisa that contradicts them. Chada Hada Amar Rav, Sefer Torah sheyesh boi shtei toyes b'chol daf v'daf yiska. A Sefer Torah that has two mistakes on every page, you can fix it. The way that means, with the way Rashi explains, is that mistakes are it's missing a letter. You can fix it by writing in the letter right underneath that spot. Shalosh yignas. But if it has three mistakes on each daf page, and not page, it's the different pieces of parchment. You have to, if you have three, then you have to be going as the Sefer Torah, it can't be fixed. The Tanya Tiyuft, and what's the brisa that contradicts it? Shalosh Yiskan Arba Yignas. We have a brisa that says, even for three you can fix it, four you have to put in Gnisa. Tanaim Yesh Daf Achas Shleim Matzelas Askula. We learned in a brisa that if you have one daf that has no problems on it, even if there are others that have more than the amount that you're allowed to fix, that one that's good saves all the others. That which we say that one surah, one column will save the whole Sefer Torah. That's only when most of it is written properly, which the Mefarshim explain. That means it doesn't have that. It's not. You can have more than the amount we said before. We said in the end, the Brisa said you could have up to three and not four. So you can have four, but you can't have 5 or 6. That's already too much. We said that if you have one that's written properly, it saves the whole thing. And we said that if you have 3, you could fix it. Does that mean if you have one that has 3, you fix it, and then it's matzelis on the others that have more? He said, yeah, once you fix it, it's fixed. That's only if it's missing. Less lamba. An extra letter that that's not going to puzzle the whole thing. Even if there's more than these amounts of mistakes, it's not going to puzzle the safe. Might Zaktamara Chaseris my time alloy. Why can't you fix the Chaseris? You should the Mexican. When you have too many mistakes that you add in extra letters, it's going to look it's going to look unappealing. It's going to look like it has dots and You look at the whole Sefer Torah, it doesn't look like something the way it's supposed to be. Okay, we'll stop over here. We'll continue Bez Hashem tomorrow from here.
Well,
Have a good day.
okay.